We have a lot to talk about, so we're just going to jump right in. So, we are talking about fusion power in this episode, and one of the differences between fusion power and nuclear, well, I guess let's just talk about what's the same. So, similar to nuclear power, the fusion power also gets a neighbor bonus. So, that means that in this particular case, instead of having the power of 2, we actually have the power of 4 because this one is, let's say, 1. It gets a neighbor bonus for the one on top, and then the top one is number 3 and gets a neighbor bonus for the one on the bottom to give us 4. And likewise, this would be actually equivalent to 9 because each 3 would have a self and neighbor bonus combined of 3. So this one would be 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. So that's kind of how it's similar to nuclear. And it uses heat to kind of give us what we need as well. Although it's not as important as nuclear. Nuclear, it's, you need to have a certain temperature. And with fusion, instead, we have fluoroketone coming in, plasma coming out, and the plasma goes into our fusion reactors or fusion generators via the arrows. So you can see that this is an in and an out, which means that it can pass through, so it can move in both directions. This is a one-way trip. So we have plasma that can come in from the back, and then plasma that can continue on through the top, the bottom, and the front. And then it will output hot fluoroketone. The hot fluoroketone will need to be collected at some point, cooled down, and reintroduced into the fusion reactor. Another difference is that instead, like the nuclear power cells will consume its power cell over time. It's something like over 5 minutes, and it will consume the power cell regardless of whether or not you are using power or need power. It just consumes it either way. With the fusion reactors, they consume fusion power cells, and the fusion power cells are only consumed as you're draining power. If you are not pulling from the grid for fusion power, it is not consuming the power cell. So that is an extremely helpful situation that they, this like design philosophy, I guess. So yeah, like I said, these can pass through. So we could introduce fluoroketone, cold fluoroketone, into the top of this, and it would feed into the bottom of this, and this chains indefinitely. So all of these would get cold fluoroketone, assuming that either the top or the bottom had it. So we are going to make a build. And in this particular case, you're just going to have to take my word for it. This is 24, including the 6 and its neighbor bonuses. This is 3 on the bottom, 6 from the middle, and then 4 each from the top. And because of that, we need 48 generators because the generators are a 1 to 2 ratio. So for every 1 reactor, we need 2 of the generators. And for each of the neighbor bonuses, we need 2 additional reactors. So we are going to have them in pairs because, as you will see, pairs just really make sense. So I'm going to have them connect like this. And we're just going to weave them through like that. And because we have 24 here, we need 48 of these, and we're going to do 12 and 12, and then 12 and 12. I'm going to take this and vertically flip it, horizontally flip it, and line this up. Vertically flip it again and line this up here. And that is what our first build is going to look like. We do need to have some pipes running through here, though. I like to just use as much pipe as I can. It's not really a big deal, and it just takes the thought out of it. Anytime you can take the thought process out is, beneficial. So this will be like this. There will be an exception for Aquilo. We are going to try to use as little pipe as possible because we have to export it. Every other planet, it is really easy to make pipe, so this is not a big deal at all. And, okay, so this is how we get the fluoroketone back around. Now we just need a way to make the hot fluoroketone into cold fluoroketone, and we obviously do that with a cryogenics lab. Which I think we're going to have somewhere like this. And we need to cool it. I don't know. Let's... Sure, maybe something like that. So the hot fluoroketone can come over and it will connect to these over here. So this will be the hot fluoroketone in, and if you scroll over this, you can kind of see everything is connected up here. So we actually don't even really need any of this. All of this will wrap back around. That will be different in other builds. So we can see all the pipes lighting up. That is what we're looking for. So now for the cold fluoroketone. So you can see that only these four are lighting up. We are actually going to change this. We're going to do something like that. And now all 6 of them are lining up. All right, or lighting up. You know what? I kind of feel like I want to have this more centered. It's not going to be centered like at all, but there. So if you look in the bottom right hand corner, you can see that this consumes 4 cold fluoroketone per second. So one of these is outputting 4 per second. So we need to beef this up a bit. And you know what? We might even just make 2. Yeah, that might be a little bit better in this case, because we are going to have a relatively difficult time. So that's going to bring us to 12. We need to get to 24 because there are 6 of them here. So that is 6 consuming 4 each for a 24 total, and these are outputting 24 together. And the last thing that we need is, one, we need power. So now everything would be connected to the power grid, and we need a way to bring in the fusion cells. You know what? I think I might... Yeah, you know what? It's fine. We can leave it. We'll just do this like this. Maybe not, because the power... I can move this up a little bit. And let's give this some power just so we can make the blinking stop. See what we actually need. Okay, so that is going to be a very, very tiny build. This will generate 2.4 gigawatts of power. And oh, that's the tiny version. So we would also need some... let's just see. I don't even know if this will fit. I don't think it will. In our RoboPort grid. Oh, just barely not. But you know what? That's fine. I'm not too concerned about it because we're going to give them their own RoboPorts. I don't know how far away I can actually get these, so I'm just going to put them at a max distance. Alright, so something like that. Now these two have incoming here, these two have incoming here, and these two have incoming over here. We could try to make it more symmetrical. I'm not too concerned about it, and you will see why. I am largely not going to use this, but I am going to make a blueprint out of it. Just in case, like if this is, you know, what you want to do, then that's fine. Okay, so I am going to tear this down. I will be back in a second. Okay, so now for the second build. So we are going to have a similar setup to what we had before. We're going to have a kind of hexagonal shape. Well, sorry, this is going to be a hexagonal shape. So instead of having one here, we're going to actually complete the hexagon. And then we're just going to go around the edge and offset these as much as we can. And this is going to be our design. So this is 18 total. And this is going to give us a reactor plus neighbor bonus of 90 total. That means we need 180 of the fusion generators. So we're going to start at the bottom. Well, okay, so if you're lining this up, this is our middle line, and we're going to have one at the top of that and one at the bottom of this middle section. And then they will just connect at the top and bottom. So then, whoops. So then we're just going to continue this 2-buddy pattern all the way through, and we are aiming for 44. And that's going to bring us to 36. We need another pair. Okay, so 44. So we're going to copy this and vertically flip. Horizontally flip over here, lining it up with the bottom of the middle. And then vertically flip to have it at the top of the middle section. And that is going to give us 176 total. We're gonna put the 4 extra ones kind of in the corners. We will deal with that in a bit. So for lining these up, we're gonna do it a little different. So it is going to look something like this, and then we can just take undergrounds and go right through. They are at maximum length. As for the rest of it, we're just kind of filling in the gaps. And you can kind of see why we're saving the heated pipes version for last, because it is, you know, the way that we're setting this up, there's no room for stuff like that. Okay, so now if we scroll over this, you can see that everything is lighting up on the left and everything over here is lighting up on the right. So we do need to connect these, and the way that we're going to do that is we are going to kind of drag some poles over here. Sorry, we're going to drag some pipes over here. But there's a couple things that we want to fit in first. One, we need the 4th, or the extra 4, and those are going to be in these corners, leaving a single space above these for our cold fluoroketone. And then this can just wrap around here, so that these have an exit. And we're going to need a lot of cold fluoroketone processing. So the way that we're going to set that up is we are going to have our cryogenic plants, And we need to line them up. I want to be one space out from this little plasma here. Like that. And this is going to be cold fluoroketone. The hot fluoroketone is going to be coming in from the back of this. And we are then going to convert this into cold fluoroketone, obviously. Oh, and to kind of connect the two sides, we are going to jump across this section here. So now, whenever I scroll over this, everything lights up. And I guess just for the, for the sake of being symmetrical, we can do the same thing on the other side. Okay, for the outgoing cold fluoroketone, so we do need to make sure that all of these are kind of connected together. The way that the middle is going to connect is going to be like this. So now when we scroll over this, you can see that, well, there we go. So whenever I scroll over the cold fluoroketone pipes, you can see that the top and the bottom light up, but none of the rest do. So we need to kind of connect all of them. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to have a pipe coming out from here. It is going to hop over the cryogenic plant. This line is going to come out from here and meet it this way. And, well, I guess this can just come straight out. And then we want this to meet another one on the opposite side. So I'm going to copy a lot of this. Horizontally flip and try to line this up. Okay, so this is good. This is good. Okay, so now whenever I scroll over this, you can see that all 18 are lighting up. So we are good. Now, I do want to copy all of that and vertically flip it and have another one on top. And that is going to be our build. For the most part, there's a couple of extra things that we need. So let me get my calculator out. No, I don't need the calculator. So 18 times 4 is 72. So we need to be able to get 72 per second out of these 4. And this is going to be 18 per second. So I copy this, flip that around, and that. So now each of these is creating 18 per second, and times 4, as we know, is 72. So we are good to go there. If you want, you can take some efficiency modules and toss it in the last slot. It'll reduce the power consumption a little bit. Actually, we can take a look and see how much it's going to reduce it. So right now it's going to be consuming 8.85 megawatts. Now it is 8.1 megawatts. So it does make a difference. Anyways, now we need to get in the fusion cells. We are going to do that with bots. So that will take care of all of the ones in the middle. As for the ones on the outside, pretty much just wherever we can fit them. I could have also, for instance, left this like this. Okay, and that should be all of them. So this one has this here, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here. Yeah, this is good. And last, we just need some power. So I'm going to place a big, an epic substation right here in the middle. I am also going to place one on both sides. Hello. And I believe I can just... Oh, so close. It's better when we get to Legendary. If we had Legendary, we'd be able to cover these in 3, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll just have an extra on the outside. Actually, I take that back. Okay, that works way better. Okay, so everything has power. Well, if everything was powered or connected to the grid, everything would have power. And now we just need to get some RoboPorts. So the downside is this is not going to work with my... I'm going to stop calling it city block. Someone called me out the other day on saying city block. It's technically not a city block. We just kind of repurposed it. A city block technically has rails and is very like stamped. Anyways, I'm going to try to start referring to it as, I guess, a RoboPort grid. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, but it is what it is. So we're going to place some RoboPorts down. And we are... Yes, that is perfect. There. I'm putting these 4 at like max distance. Oh, did I cut it again? Really? Tell you what, we are not going to do it like that. We are actually going to... That is not going to work either. That is going to work. Awesome. No! Come on, man. Alright. Fine, you win. One right in the middle. Okay, so this is going to be our blueprint, and the way that we would end up getting fluoroketone in here is we would just bottle it up or put it in some containers, the barrels, there we go. We do have some steel on Aquilo, so we can make some steel barrels there, fill up the fluoroketone, and ship it out. And you would just add, you know, something like this and just fill it up. Now this takes a ton, so you need like 300 to 400 barrels to completely fill this. And that is going to be our next blueprint. Okay, so I am going to tear this down and I will be back shortly. Okay, so now we are here on Aquilo, and this one is going to be quite a bit more painful because we have to get some heat into the heat pipe, or we have to get some heat pipes into the pipes. Now, the fusion reactors and the fusion generators, they don't freeze, thankfully, but they still need to have fluoroketone coming in and coming out. So that is where the freezing mechanic is going to hurt us. And to kind of counter that, what we're going to do is instead of having them paired up, we're just going to use singles. So we're not going to be making... Oh, and I didn't even mention, so that large one that we just made will make 9 gigawatts per 9 gigawatts of power. That is absolutely insane. And if it was in legendary quality, if all of those were legendary, that would be, I think it's 20... I feel like it's 24 gigawatts, 25, somewhere, something like that. 27, I don't know. It's a lot. 21. Now I'm just, okay, I'm just, whatever. So for this build, we're not gonna do a big one. We're just gonna use the small version. So we're gonna use this setup. And things are gonna be a little bit different, largely because of the heat pipes. We are gonna try to do our best to make things work. And whenever it comes to Aquilo, if we needed more power outside of the 2.4 gigawatts that this will provide, we would just put a second one down. Like, there's no sense in trying to make a large build. It's a real pain. This one is going to be a lot more straightforward, as you will see. And okay, so now that we have this set up, we need some generators. So we're going to have this on the bottom of this one and on the bottom of this one. So we're going to have 3 spaces here in the middle. That is largely so that we can have heat pipes coming down in a central way. And this is where it kind of gets a little nitpicky on how we set this up. So I'm going to, again, we're going to have one. Most of these can be squared off. So you can see that these are, you know, the rectangular kind of nice and flush. This one is slightly offset. And the reason why is because we need to have pipes come out, something like this, and we will need to get heat in to this section here. So this does have to be recessed just a little bit. And the rest of this, for the most part, can be squared up, except for, again, this section. And that is going to be 12. So let's just go ahead and hook all of this up so that we can kind of figure out what's going on. And then afterwards we can kind of copy and paste everything. And I do have... Oh, where'd it go? A little bit of, you know, helpers down here heating up some pipes. Okay, so it looks like almost everything is nice and heated up. I'm actually going to do this a little different. So we're going to come out to here. And we're going to do something like that. I don't know. I kind of like some symmetry. And we're going to have this be a little symmetrical. Not quite. There's going to be some funkiness to it, but it is what it is. And so we're going to take these. And we're going to vertically flip. Line everything up. Horizontally flip and go to the other side. And vertically flip and go to the top. Okay, so that is going to give us the 48 generators that we need. And these are basically 24. So now we need to get, well, we need to get power, but we need to have the fluoroketone come through as well. And this one's going to be a little bit different. So we've made it to Aquilo, obviously, and we're going to be unlocking Legendary soon. Now, I'm not planning on using Legendary speed modules, but I am planning on only using one of the cryogenic plants, and it's going to be placed here. And we are definitely going to have to do some funky belt weaving here, so to be able to allow a heat pipe to come in, we have to leave an opening here. This is going to be the weirdest part of this build. Is going to go there. We are going to need some fluoroketone from this side to meet up with some fluoroketone on this side. And then these can just go right into here. So that should be almost everything connected. Why is this not? Oh, we still need to connect all of these down this way too. And these need to be heated up. Okay, and I think that just about does it. All right, so they are all connected. The hot fluoroketone is all connected. We are not getting heat back here for some reason. Oh, it just hasn't made it there yet. That is fine. It will make it. Okay, so we need power. And for power, we are going to stick one of these over in here, largely because that's the only place that it'll fit. And then for the top sections, we're going to have one here. Yeah, I guess we can leave one on the outside. Okay, that is our power. Oh, you know what I should have done for those other builds? I did. You know what? I'll do this with the blueprints. I'll go back and fix them. But we should have been requesting in fusion power cells with this. Okay, so this one already has some heat, so we're going to stick this guy there. As for some of the other ones, we already have some heat coming in here and here, so this will be fine for these. And that leaves the last one up here. So we already have heat next to all of these, so this is going to work great. And I believe that does it. That is going to be our Aquilo build. Oh, no. So we have 24 per second fluoroki tone needed. And this guy can produce 4. So unfortunately, with what we have, we can only make 20 per second. And that's kind of okay for now because we're not going to be using all of that until we like really fill it up. But once we get to the point where we can get some epic 5, nope. We need 6 to get us over the 24 mark. Ideally though, legendary gets us to exactly 24, 4 legendaries. So it would look something like that. Now I am obviously not gonna blueprint it for that. I'm gonna blueprint it for 8 of these because that's what we have on Aquilo at the moment. And conveniently, this one does work with our RoboPort grid, so we are just going to leave it the way it is. We are not going to add any RoboPorts to this blueprint. I'm going to copy that. Okay, so I am going to remove this, and we're going to actually hop back over to Gleba because there's one last one that I want to show off real quick. Okay, so we are not on Gleba, we are on the ship because this is where I am going to be making it. This is just some random ship that I created, and I let it, you know, kind of gather some supplies before coming here, but we need to get rid of all of this nuclear power because this is all going. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to be making some fusion. So this is going to get some fusion power. These need to be lined up north and south again. So we're going to have 2 of these, which give us a total of 8. So we would need 16, but we kind of don't really have room for 16. I mean, I guess we could add maybe one extra one over here. We don't really need the power, so it's not a big deal. Did I say 8? No, 4. No, so this is right. We're good. Wow. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives us a requirement of 8 of these. Okay, so that was right. My bad. And we need a cryogenics lab. And then we will need to double. We will need to get this to 8. So this is 4 each. This brings us to 8. And look at all of this extra room we now have. I guess if we really wanted to, technically, we could pull this up a bit. And that would give us room to be able to potentially squeeze a belt in here if we needed to for whatever kind of shenanigans we wanted to do in here. And yeah, that is going to be our last fusion blueprint. We will probably end up making more later, but for now, that is going to be the ones that we are going to be focusing on. And all we will need to do at that point is just bring in some fluoroketone. Okay, and now that is 4 builds for fusion power. And yeah, oh boy, that was a long one for me. Hopefully not a long one for you guys. Okay, so that is going to be it for me for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to, we need to start making them. The reason why I made it in this blueprint, the editor mode, is because we haven't even started crafting them yet. I just wanted to make sure that we had blueprints for them. So we need to start the process of making them. We will need to collect a couple of things. We have tungsten plate, superconductors. We just need to collect some quantum processors, which I think I've done. I think I did that at the end off camera. Oh, speaking of off camera, so I was kind of looking at it after the fact, and I was like, man, these belts just, that's not me. The way everything is lining up, that is so not me. So once we start the next episode and get back into our world, I will hopefully have had time to kind of clean up the belts and the underground belts. Sorry, the underground belts and the underground pipes and all the belts and stuff. So it will look a little bit different, but it'll all function exactly like it was before, just a little bit cleaner. Yeah, and then for the other one, we need the same ingredients. So we need to make a lot of quantum processors. Yeah, so we're going to be setting some of that up, and I don't know, we're going to do something else other than that, obviously. We're going to maybe look at some of the research and take a look at some of that. We do need to set up some trains before we take off. I would like to have some trains going on this planet so that I can kind of show you how that's going to work. And that is in the very near future. We are so close to beating the game, like very, very close. Okay, so that is going to be it for me for this episode. In the next episode... Oh, and I guess I should have mentioned you would need to get some fluoroketone up here, so, you know, that would look something similar to what we had before. And you can just insert right into this from this, so you would need to get some... you know what, let's just do it real quick. I'm sorry. Literally, it's just like... Done. That's how you would do it. Okay, now that is going to be it for me for this episode. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.